it's Kim. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new to my channel, welcome. Today we're going to be making some yummy soft pretzels. The Hungry Girl put out a new recipe last month, and it's using the 2-ingredient dough, so she used that to make soft pretzels, but she kind of did it with a twist, like she made like normal pretzels, like the process of making normal pretzels with it. So I'm stumbling. Let me just show you how she did it, and hopefully I'll give you a cool new recipe to check out and try during the holidays. So with that said, let me jump into the kitchen and let's get started. Okay, the first thing I need to do is I have a pot of water on my stove. I'm going to turn this on and get that boiling because we're going to need to use this once we get our 2-ingredient dough put together. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. And in the meantime, I'm going to gather my ingredients, and then I'll come back. We'll mix up our ingredients, and hopefully the timing will be just about right, and our water will be boiling at that point. So let's get this started. Okay, for the ingredients that we're going to need today, we're going to need some self-rising flour. We're going to need some non-fat plain Greek yogurt. I just have the Great Value brand here. Some kosher salt to sprinkle on top of the pretzels, and some baking soda that we're going to add to the water in a little while. So I have a 1/2 cup measuring cup here. I'm going to measure out a 1/2 cup of the self-rising flour, and then I'm going to drop it into the bowl. The next thing we're going to add in is I have another 1/2 cup measuring cup. I don't know why I just didn't use the first one, maybe because I knew I'd need it later, but anyhow, I have 2 of them. So I'm going to start to measure out this container. I think the container was 5.3 ounces. And just to save yourself some time, if you do buy the small container, you don't need to measure it. You can just dump the whole thing in because it did actually equal a 1/2 cup. You're going to see me spoon it in, and I'm thinking that, I would at least have maybe a teaspoon or 2 left over, but actually it all fit right into my 1/2 cup container. So I was kind of shocked, and at least now I know for future reference when I make this again, I can just dump that whole container in and not have to dirty up another measuring cup, which, save you a little time from cleanup later. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and mix this up together, but before I cut out and come back again, I just wanted to say that as you are mixing this, when you get done mixing it, refrigerate the dough. I did not do that step. I missed that in the directions. So you're going to want to refrigerate the dough just to make it work a little bit better. So I'm going to cut out here, and I will come back once I get this dough mixed up a little bit better. Okay, so I decided that I was going to add a little bit of seasoning to this, and I just grabbed that happy salt that I've been using in a lot of my recipes lately, and I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of that in there. You want to go lightly on some of the seasoning if you are using something that has salt, because we are going to put salt in to the pretzels later, actually on top of the pretzels later. So just be careful as you're adding seasoning to this. I always like to season my doughs a little bit because I'm not a huge fan of that Greek yogurt taste, just the plain Greek yogurt. So I'm going to take a little flour here. I'm going to put it out on my cutting board, and that's just going to make the dough less sticky and easier to work with. So I'm going to go ahead and pat this out, get the dough just to be, like I said, a little more workable. At this point, I should have put it in the fridge, and I didn't, which explains why I was struggling trying to make these into pretzel shapes, but I'll show you how that goes in just a moment. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this in half, and I cut the one side a little bit bigger because I knew I was going to make dough, or the pretzel dough, pretzel bites. That's the word I'm looking for. I was going to make some pretzel bites with it. So you see that I'm rolling this out, and it got to be a little big, so I actually cut this in half and decided to work with it and make 2 smaller pretzels. I mean, I could have made a huge one, but I think that would have taken a little bit longer to make, and I definitely wanted to make these a little bit smaller so they would cook faster, because I was pretty excited about having these, trying them out for the first time. So I'm going to roll this out. I'm going to try to crisscross it and put it together, and My pretzel skills are not great, so I definitely need to work on that and practice a little bit more. But I actually pull it off, I pull it together, and then I proceed to make my second one. And I will come back once I get that one made. Okay, you could see that my second one came out a little better. I think the shape just kind of resembled a pretzel a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the rest of this dough. I'm going to cut it up into pieces, and then I'm going to just make these into smaller bites. I'll show you what the first couple look like, and then I will cut away and come back so that we can move on to the next step. I tried to make this video just a little bit shorter for you so that it'd be a little quicker and easier for you to see the process that I decided to take in making these. So you see that I just kind of broke these in half, made smaller bite-sized pieces, and they were actually the perfect size when I made them. So I'm going to hurry up. I'm going to get the rest of these made into little bites, and then I will come back and we will move on to the next step. Okay, so in our pot, I've got the water almost boiling. I'm going to go ahead and add in a heaping tablespoon of baking soda. Since I put in a little more than 3 cups, I want to make sure that I put enough in there. So I'm just going to go ahead and toss that in, maybe a little bit more for good measure. But the ratio is supposed to be 3 cups of water to the, oh, I don't want to scrape that pan up. 3 cups of water to 1 tablespoon of baking soda. So as soon as this finishes coming to a boil, we're going to go ahead and drop our pretzels or our pretzel bites into the boiling water, and we're going to leave that in there for about approximately 30 seconds, and then we're going to start to layer them into the air fryer. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to grab another cookie sheet or a plate or something, and then I'm going to go ahead and put them on that so that I can sprinkle the salt on it before we put it into the air fryer. So let's wait for that water to come to a boil, and then we will come back and finish up this recipe. All right, our water's come to a boil, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to put our first pretzel in. And again, that's going to be 30 seconds. So I'm just going to drop that in. I might be able to put 2 of them in. My other pretzel's not turning out so great. It seems to just keep falling apart, but you know what? We'll still be able to eat it. So we're just going to leave that one alone. And look, we had a little extra pretzel bite there. So I'm just going to go ahead and move those over. We're going to time that for about 30 seconds, and then we will pull them out. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to flip them while they're in there. But my other pretzel's not doing great. All right, one of them's doing good. We're going to try to flip this one. Can I do it? I did it. All right. And the other one's going to turn out to be a bunch of pretzel bites, I think. So we're just going to leave them in there, and we're just going to let it do its thing. All right, so I'm going to continue to get the pretzel bites, the ones that I just made the smaller pretzel bites. I'm going to continue to put those in. And once those are done, I'm going to sprinkle them with kosher salt. So we're going to pull out those ones. And hopefully my pretzel here holds its shape. This is real life cooking, people. You got to do what you got to do, but hopefully as I start to play with these a little bit more, I'll get a little better at making them. Pop that right in there. And then we're going to put in the air fryer at 370 degrees until golden brown, about 12 minutes. So we're going to get these in the air fryer, and I will show you what they look like when they get done. So I'm just going to continue to pop these other ones in here. Turn that heat down a little bit so we don't have that issue. All right, we're going to take a look. It's been about 11 minutes, and ooh, look at that. Let me get you in some better light. My stove looks like a mess because I actually had a little mess there. But look, I think they're done. All right, I'm gonna get these in a plate, let them cool off, and then I will give one a try. They look absolutely delicious, and they smell like pretzels. I mean, they really do. So I cannot wait to give these a try. All right, so hang tight, let me let them cool off for a minute, and I will come back. Okay, so I'm gonna grab a small one here, and we're gonna give it a try on camera and see how it is. Okay, they're actually pretty good. I think that the texture would be a little bit different if I would have chilled the dough, because I think that when I would put them in the boiling water, that they would have held up different and they would have puffed up a little bit more. But all in all, I think for my first try, I'm going to say these were a winner. So definitely make sure that your dough's chilled. Make sure that you are jumping them into that boiling water for the 30 seconds. And again, I will make these again. I think that it's always a trial and error when you're making things, and I think that that's part of cooking, and I think that's part of why you try new recipes, is so that you can not only try something new, but also get practice at doing some different techniques that you wouldn't normally do. So I think I'm gonna grab myself some cheese. I've got some queso up there, and that's pretty low on points. So I think I'm gonna grab myself some cheese and dip these pretzels right in there. So with that said, I'm gonna sign off from today's video. I wanna thank you for watching, and happy Vlogmas. We will see you next video.